Welcome to the Trotwood-Madison March 6, 2025 work session. This meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. Vice President Simmons, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Carrington?
Present.
Mrs. Kilgore? Mrs. Carrington? I'm sorry, Mrs. Cherry?
Yes.
And myself. And Mr. Lumpkin is going to be delayed or not present.
Yes. May we stand for the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, we will have our mission statement to be read by L'Oreal Bean.
The mission of the Trotwood-Madison City Schools is to graduate all students prepared to excel in a global society with a commitment to lifelong learning and guaranteed by a challenging curriculum facilitated by an innovative and dedicated staff, community participation, and state-of-the-art resources, and a stimulating atmosphere.
Thank you so very much. Job well done.
That was pretty awesome.
Yes. Let's give her another round. That was good. All right. Thank you so very much. Next, on our agenda is to adopt the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda?
There are no changes this evening.
Okay, no changes? Mrs. Simmons, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Cherry?
Yes.
Mrs. Carrington?
Yes.
Mrs. Kilgore?
Yes.
Myself?
Next on our agenda is the consent agenda. So we need approval of the OHSAA resolution for 2025-2026. I need a motion.
A motion.
It's the
Oh, do both one? Okay. Let me go back. So since it's the consent agenda, I need the approval of the OHSAA resolution for 2025-2026 school year and approval of the overnight field trip to Columbus, Ohio for Trotwood-Madison High School Distribution Education Clubs of America and students on March the 10th through the 12th, 2025. I need a motion for both.
A motion.
It's been properly moved in second. Mrs. Simmons, I'll say Ms. Allen, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Carrington?
Yes.
Mrs. Kilgore?
Yes.
Mrs. Cherry?
Yes,
And myself, Mrs. Simmons.
good. Motion passes for the consent agenda. Next is our board report. Number A is approval of resolution to adopt special education module policies and procedures with slight modifications. This is just for information.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yes, it's just for information. And the file is attached to you for
Right.
your pleasure at a later time. Any questions? Next, item B is the board retreat. The board retreat is just for, this is just for informational only, but it has been scheduled for April 12th, 2025, between 8 a.m. and noon. Item number C is rescheduling of the April 3rd, 2025 work session. Due to a conference, there will be a conflict. We will need to reschedule our board meeting of April 3rd, 2025 to be announced. And then there is the any questions, I'm sorry? And then there is the treasurer's report.
Mrs. Allen asked me to read her information for the treasurer's report this evening. Item A is the approval of February 6, 2025 work session meeting minutes and February 20th, 2025 regular meeting minutes. And this is for information this evening. Item B is for action this evening, and this is the approval of board member training compensation, and the details are in the content.
Okay. I do need approval of board member training compensation. I need a motion.
A motion to approve the board members' training compensation.
It's been properly moved in second. Mrs. Simmons, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Carrington?
Yes.
Mrs. Kilgore? Yes. Mrs. Cherry?
Yes.
Myself, yes.
Okay. Motion passes for the approval of board member training compensation. Next, number 5 is the superintendent's report.
All right, the first item I have on the agenda this evening is the approval of the in lieu of transportation payments for the 24-25 school year. Attached in your item is the letter from myself and the list of all of the students and all of the schools that those students attend. The state of Ohio requires school districts, public school districts that do not transport students to private or parochial or charter schools, to provide an in lieu of payment for transportation. We do this every year. The approval is then verified with the school through May to ensure that all students that are on this list have or are attending the schools that are outlined. And then once the operations department approves and verifies these individuals, then a check will be cut for, this year I think the payment is roughly around $500 for the in lieu of transportation payments. And this is for information this evening. And as you move through those, if you have any questions, you can let me know. And this is standard practice. We do this every year. And just additional details, it's one of those controversial issues that, comes up in the state all the time. As you can see, there are several school districts that we transport students students live in our district that attend other schools outside of our district. And it's just not economically possible for the district to transport those students. So we do offer the in lieu of payment for those young people. Right. Item B is the approval of the Sinclair Community College and Trotwood-Madison City Schools College Credit Plus MOU and payment rates for the 25-26 school year. Standard memorandum of understanding between our district and Sinclair with regards to the College Credit Plus courses that are offered in the school. And this memo is for action, is for information. Just needs to be approved on a yearly basis. C is the approval of the junior ROTC out-of-state overnight field trip to Batesville, Mississippi from April 3rd through the 6th, 2025, and an overnight field trip to Columbus, Georgia, in Atlanta, Georgia, from April 24 through the 25 for competition. And that memo is also attached, detailing those overnight trips. And D, the personnel agenda, which is for action this evening. The March 6th agenda forwarded to the board previously, Friday, and the updated agenda on Tuesday. Separation of services, 6 individuals, separation of services through resignations. Items 7 through 9 are appointments or changes in salaries, substitute teachers. Items 10 through 12, supplemental appointments, and 13 through 14 are classified supplemental appointments. And I am asking for action on those this evening.
Mr. Hart, just for clarification, with the approval for the JROTC, that's just for information?
Yes,
Okay.
that is for information this evening. And those two, the detailed information about each of the trips is attached.
So for item, are you finished?
Yeah, item D is the only one.
So for item D, I
yeah.
need approval of the personnel agenda, and as Mr. Howard has stated, he has already provided us with that information. I'm hoping I had an opportunity to review it. Do you have any questions? Questions? Then I need a motion to approve the personnel agenda.
I motion that we approve the personnel agenda.
It's been moved in second. Mrs. Simmons, would you please call the roll?
Yes. Mrs. Currington?
Yes.
Mrs. Kilgore? Yes. Mrs. Cherry?
Yes.
Mrs. Simmons? Yes.
Motion passes for the personnel agenda. Next, item 6, discussion items, graduation update.
Okay, in your folders, as always, I have provided some documentation with regards to the discussion items. The first document identified as A is an email from Mrs. Haig, the counselor over at the high school, and Mr. McCray. This document provides the current update of the graduating class, or on-track graduating class of 2025. As you can see, the total senior count is still 229. On track, down in bold, at this point is 187 seniors. That is +8 from where we were in January. And then we do need to make note that there are still several of the seniors, current seniors, that are working through the coursework and also the alternative pathways. So the expectation after talking to Mr. McCray and Mrs. Haig is that the majority of these kids will get through. We are just concluding third quarter with, I believe, next week, and that number should increase. And then the number of students on that alternative pathway is also going to contribute to our students that are going to be graduating. So I'll continue to update you guys probably April, the first meeting of April, to let you know where we are, and then of course in May, and you'll have all that information. Mrs. Haig also wanted me to pass along that the last bullet discusses the FAFSA completion rate. As you know, last time we were around 18%. At this point, we've reached 24%. But one thing in the bullet point she did want to make sure I shared is that it says, please note that the Ohio FAFSA Student Data Portal receives direct uploads from the Federal Student Aid Department on their time schedule, which creates a process delay. So we may have a higher completion rate. Our next FAFSA Friday is this Friday, May 7th, 2025. So what we discussed is that because of the lag between the time that the information gets in and what's reported, there is a strong belief that we're maybe more around 35 to 40% completion. So she did want to make sure that we shared that share that with you. And then they are having another FAFSA event this Friday at the high school.
I have a question about the FAFSA. Is this FAFSA, is it every Friday or is it just one Friday out of the month? Or?
I believe it's every other Friday, but I can clarify that.
Okay,
I
just
believe
that-
it's
no, I
every
was
other
just asking.
Friday, yeah. That's a good question. I'll make sure I get that information. Good question. Right. Next item is B.
Yes.
Athletic League update. Mr. Smith is not here this evening due to a prior commitment, but even if he was here, we would not have an update other than where we were last meeting. We are scheduled to have a work session with Jefferson Township and Dayton Public Schools on March 11th at 3:30 to continue to try to iron out some of the just logistical information, some of the just scripted details, some of the bylaws, et cetera, of the league. So we are at a point now where we're just waiting to work through these processes. And as soon as we get there, I will share with the board, or have Mr. Smith share with the board what that end product looks like. March 11th at 3:30 at Jefferson Township City Schools, their Board of Education meeting.
Who will be present?
Myself, Mr. Smith, the superintendent and athletic directors from both Jefferson Township and Dayton Public Schools will be present. All right. C, moving on. Five Rivers update. In your folder, the document identified as B is an email from Gina McFarland L., who is the CEO of Five Rivers. Unfortunately, due to the federal government and some of the things that are going on with the federal government, Five Rivers has made a decision to close our school-based health center on March 29th. March 29th will be their last day. Mrs. McFarland L. and I had a very detailed conversation about just the fact that, you know, we're going to be losing Five Rivers, but they do want to continue to support the district through some other alternatives. One being a mobile medical or dental unit, and they would like to start that in mid to late April. So we've got to sit down and really figure out how Five Rivers can continue to support the district, and then in the long run, we have to figure out what's going to happen with that space over there. Pretty much out of our hands, as you know, as we see what's going on in the United States and where we are right now. And Five Rivers receives a lot of their funding from the federal government. So at this point, on March 29th, Five Rivers will cease to operate as a satellite health center here at the district. And Ms. McFarland and I are in constant communication, and then once we get a little better understanding or clarity on what that mobile unit or mobile support will look like, I'll share that with the board.
Okay.
And those are the updates for the discussion item.
Next will be treasurer comments. I don't know if Mrs. Allen shared any with you.
She did not. I did see Miss Allen come in for a second. She had to do something for payroll, but she was masked up and, you know, kept her distance. So other than stay healthy, I don't think she has anything to share this evening.
Okay. Number 8, superintendent comments.
Okay, I do have a few comments for the board this evening. The first is Black History programs. At all of your seats, you should see some T-shirts. I think, does everybody have a T-shirt? You got a T-shirt?
I ordered mine to school.
Okay, so you're good then. So we did have several Black History programs over the past couple of weeks. The high schools is actually going on right now. They had to reschedule theirs to today because of the game yesterday. It was originally scheduled for yesterday evening. I did have the opportunity to go and spend some time over at the high school today and see their Black History program. I went to every building that had something going on, and I definitely wanted to acknowledge all of the staff and all of the students that participated. Got a lot of talented students. And one of the things that Mr. Manley and I discussed, and if you guys don't know, Mr. Manley is a former director of arts in one of his former districts, and I'm not trying to put any additional pressure on him or job responsibilities, but one of the things we did talk about is beefing up our arts program. We have so many kids that are really, really talented, and they're looking for outlets, and they're looking for some additional things to do, and a lot of those kids will find themselves or find their way through arts. And after you spend some time watching, and we'll talk about the band here in a little bit as well, and watching these programs, we got to find some additional outlets for our kids. So we're gonna spend some time over the next several months and through the summer trying to figure out how we can get our kids a little more tied into to the arts and arts expression, and hopefully in the near future have a little more robust program.
Can that be something that could be offered through like summer also?
If we can figure out how to fund it and get the kids here. Yeah, I don't want to make a statement and say yes right now, but if we can figure out how to fund some of those things and get some partnerships, I definitely think it's something that we have to look at. We have to have a long range goal. I don't know if you remember, and I don't think anybody was at the board on the board in 2018 or 19. We had a summer musical production of The Wiz, and it was incredible. It was outstanding, and COVID hit, and all of that stuff kind of went away, and we really are going to try to find out how we can reinvigorate our arts program, maybe through drama, through our classes or courses or something, but we've got to figure it out. Excuse me.
That's what they do. We have a
Muse Machine is still active, but
Yeah.
most of the Muse Machine, I hate to use the word stuff, but most of the Muse Machine stuff is our kids going to see things
No,
versus.
they do have a program where they actually come in.
Right.
Because my grandson just had one.
Right.
They actually came in and did a whole little skit.
With the
play for us.
kids.
Yes.
Yeah, right, with the kids. What I'm speaking of is an internal program where we have our own program where we put on those productions and presentations, and we don't have to contract out with the Muse Machine. But Muse Machine does. They do come in and they do interactive things with the kids and put on presentations. But what I'm speaking of is beefing up our own internal arts program. Yeah, but you're absolutely right. Muse Machine is still active, and maybe they can be one of our partners. Helping us, helping us do that. They partner with us, through some of the things that they do now. But I don't understand why we can't have a spring musical every year. We can't. We got the talented kids, we got the staff. We just have to figure out how to infuse that back into what we do on the day-to-day. All right. The next comment I have is document C, the memo C in your folder. If you don't know by now, our boys basketball team was victorious last night in the Ohio State regional semifinal, and they are headed to the regional final on Sunday, March 9th at 2 o'clock, and they will be playing at Xavier University. What I've included in your packet is, if you are interested in going, Xavier University is cashless. They do not take any cash, so this is a QR code to purchase tickets. If you are interested in going, the game starts at 2. And if we win this game, then we proceed to the state Final Four at the University of Dayton Arena. Our kids have been playing very well. Our coaches have been coaching very well, and it's an exciting time. Some of the things that we've experienced here in the district before. So we just want to make sure that, that if you want to go, that you understand that you do have to purchase your tickets through that QR code or the Ohio High School Athletic Association website. And we took 2 buses of kids last night, and we had over 100 students that rode a Spirit bus. And our kids were just as loud and excited as the kids from the opposing school, and they were going back and forth. It was a really, really cool atmosphere last night, and our young men definitely showed out last night. It was a good time.
They did.
Right. Next, I do have a copy of an article on Harold Lefty Martin. Harold Lefty Martin was the proprietor and the owner of the Northwest Track Club. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but LaVonna Martin, former graduate Olympic medalist, is his daughter, and Mr. Martin passed about 2 weeks ago. And Saturday morning, they will be having a memorial service at the high school in the high school auditorium. The district has worked with Mr. Martin for years through the Northwest Track Club and track program. He's rented our facilities, the old stadium, and until the old stadium became inoperable, he rented space at the high school. And I just wanted to share that information with you about his memorial service. And then also I provided this article, and it has a beautiful picture of him and his family, all of his kids who are Trotwood graduates who are doing extremely well. And I just thought it'd be, important to just share with the board that, we did lose a stalwart in this community when it came to interacting with kids. His program probably had 1,000 kids go through his program in the city of Trotwood and in the city of Dayton. And, he was definitely a big loss to this community. Mr. Martin, until last year, was still coming up here, even with his wheelchair, coming up here to reserve the track and rent the track from us, so he can push his program and get those kids that exposure through track. He was an outstanding individual. He will be missed. And if you do have some time to come in on Saturday morning, it'll be in the high school auditorium, memorial service.
What time?
9 o'clock. Starts at 9, from 9 to 11. And there will be no funeral procession or no funeral, or there'll be no body. It's just a memorial service to him. And there are going to be a lot of people coming in, a lot of his former athletes, a lot of folks that he worked with through the National Federation of Track. There's supposed to be some former Olympians here. He had a big impact on a lot of folks in the Dayton area, and I felt it was an honor for them to want to come back and memorialize him here in our building. And last, our band, over the last couple of days, I think they got back yesterday, had the opportunity to attend Mardi Gras in New Orleans, Louisiana, and they had an outstanding time, and they represented Trotwood-Madison City Schools to the fullest. Got to march down Bourbon Street and all through the streets of Louisiana. Got a lot of really nice compliments. And I wish Mr. Bean would have stayed, but Mr. Bean's he's a humble guy too. But our band is outstanding. They had an outstanding time. I mean, they did an outstanding job, had a great time. And what an experience for our kids. Yeah, what an experience for our kids. And this all comes back to, those arts again. We've got to figure out how to reinvigorate those opportunities for our students. And, this will definitely be an opportunity that those kids will never forget. He's started his plans for fundraising for next school year, and hopefully they get that opportunity to go again. All right. And that is all I have as far as comments are concerned.
Any more pictures?
I think he just sent us about 5 or 6. He has a folder, and I just said, send me a couple that I can share, and then when you get, when you compile your folder, we can share those additional ones with the board.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of jealous. But they definitely had a good time. The kids came back. I saw a few of them in the Black History program, and talked to a couple of them this morning when I was over at the high school, and they were beaming about the opportunity that they had to visit New Orleans.
Absolutely, wonderful experience.
Yep, absolutely. And that's all I have.
Okay. Well, we're just moving right along. Board comments. Mrs. Currington.
I would just like to, as always, thank the staff of Trotwood-Madison for the great job that you all do. And I'm really impressed when I see our young students come up and read with such passion and articulation. It shows that we have some of the cream of the crop here. I think Laura Lee Bean, she told us she was the, what did she say?
Super reader.
Super reader. So it's good to see our children not afraid to stand in front of a crowd and speak. And it just shows that our teachers here are doing a great thing for our students. Congratulations to the boys basketball team. I'm sure they will be victorious. As a matter of fact, I'm going to make sure I go somewhere and make a little, place a little bet on it. Because I just know they're going to win. I just want to thank everybody.
Okay. Mrs. Kilgore.
Thank you. It seems like February was a busy month for parents and staff and administrators. So I just want to say continue to keep up the good work, go rounds. I didn't get to see the boys basketball team play, but my family did. But I did get to see them at a Wright State game last week. They were there, the team was, so that was nice to see them out. I think Wright State played CSU, Cleveland State University, so they were there supporting them. But go rounds and keep up the good work. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Lumpkin is not here, so Vice President Simmons.
Again, I concur. Ms. L'Oreal Bean was definitely she named herself a super reader, and she was just that, a super reader. And I look forward to seeing her in 10 years to see where she'll be. Congratulations, of course, to our boys basketball team. I know we will take the state this year. Coach Blanton, Coach Smith, Coach, I don't want to forget anybody else, our assistant coach.
Yates.
Yeah. They're doing an awesome job. I got an opportunity to attend Saturday as well as last night. Just the excitement, the fans, the students' behavior. It was a treat to be there. So the band going to Mardi Gras, I was in the band many moons ago. So I know how that feels to be able to travel with your band. So however we can get behind and support the arts here at Trotwood-Madison. We are more than sports. As you can see, our students have so many talents to showcase, so we will continue doing that here at Trotwood-Madison Schools. I'll end with that.
Okay. Thank you so very much. I concur with them as well with our mission statement reader. She just has personality plus. Also, congratulations to, like we said, the boys basketball team. I had the opportunity to go to a few of the Black History program, and I'm just amazed at our students, what they can do once they set their mind to it. I'm just in awe with what they can do. And so I'm gonna say congratulations to the teachers. Shouts out to the teachers who work with the students and the parents as well. One of the things I wanted to make sure that we mentioned was the stay in the game and attendance at Madison Park. I think that is a very, very good thing, and hopefully our attendance will increase and our absenteeism will decrease. And then to the students, the high school students that had the experience, at the UD experience, the high school students, they were well conducted. They conducted themselves in a manner in which the Board of Education in our district should be proud. Also, the students that were at the game, they conducted themselves in an orderly fashion, and we should be proud of our students. I just wanted to make sure that we are doing everything that we possibly can to make the district a success, and that includes everybody. I know that the logo says you matter, but I always say we all matter. So we all participate in trying to reach one, teach one, and just holding everyone accountable and doing what we can to ensure the success of our students. And that's all that I have as far as comments. Okay, if nothing else, we will enter into executive session to consider the appointment, employment, discipline, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or an official, or the investigation of charges, complaints against a public employee, official, licensee, or related, individual per BOE policy 0166 and ORC 121.22, G1 action may be taken. And the time we will be entering into executive session is 6:06. Mrs. Simmons, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Cherry?
Yes.
Mrs. Carrington?
Yes.
Mrs. Kilgore?
Yes.
Mrs. Simmons?
Yes. We will enter into executive session at 6:06. executive session at 7:22, and I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
A second, you got a second?
Yes. It's been second. Mrs. Simmons, would you call the roll?
Mrs. Carrington,
Yes.
Mrs. Kilgore, Mrs. Cherry,
Yes.
Mr. Lumpkin,
There you go.
Mrs. Simmons.
Yes. Motion passes.
Yes.
We adjourn.